Welcome to the Piston Fanatic. I'm your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons as we go on this fantastic voyage together. I've been a diehard Piston fan since the days of Dave Bing and Bob Lanier. I've also been the varsity basketball coach of a very successful program in northern Michigan. I want to thank all of you for listening. Please subscribe, click on the thumbs up button, click on that notifications button, tell a friend. Well, our Pistons are on a winning streak, one in a row after dropping two tough losses, 3-point games in a row. We beat the Miami Heat 138 to 135, and we're 16-4, so that's the bottom line. But we were up by 22 points with 8 minutes left in the game, and we kind of let things fall apart. And the Heat are a good team. They were 13-6 coming into tonight. Now they're 13-7. But they are a high-scoring team, one of the highest-scoring teams in the league, if not the highest. They play at the fastest pace. We gave up 44 points in the fourth quarter. Oh, it just was a nightmare. And we had, like I said, we had that 22-point lead. Cade was out of the game, and then we put him back in. Well, then they just started doubling Cade, and they stole it from him like 3 times at the end. He's got to be better at that. He had 8 turnovers. So first of all, Cade is my favorite player. I started this podcast because of Cade Cunningham, and love the Pistons, but he was the main single reason I started it. By the way, we do have this. I've had over 300 episodes. I don't keep track. It's not a big deal to me, but it's like 304 episodes I've done. And so thank you, all of you that have been with me for that time. But yeah, Cade, it's got to be more aware. People just drop off and they leave their man. Jalen Suggs did it. Black was guarding him against the Magic. And in an important time, Suggs just sneaks in there. Cade just is so focused on scoring, and he steals it and then goes down and hits the 3. So, yeah, we played really well. We had a lot of guys do well, but things go, Tobias, he was 10 for 12 from the floor. And then with a minute 35, he misses 2 free throws. And that's a little bit of choking in my opinion, but we had lots of guys that played well. B-Ball Paul, I'm a huge fan of his, and again, he doesn't get to play unless JB has to play him, so he had to play him tonight. 19 minutes, 5 for 9 from the floor, 1 for 2 from the line, from 3, 2 for 2 from the line, 4 assists, 4 offensive rebounds, 10 rebounds total, 2 assists, 1 steal, 13 points. So we didn't have Duran, so that's why he had to play B-Ball Paul tonight. And Duran's been struggling. Duran has been losing the ball. Teams have been collapsing on him. He's been fumbling the ball against the Magic. He made a bunch of turnovers. He had at least 5 turnovers. He comes down and he tries to be cool. And I love Duran, so don't get me wrong. But he came down on the break. We had a 2-on-1 break, and he tries to throw a one-hand scoop pass to Jaden Ivey on the break, and he throws it way behind him out of bounds. And every basket was key. And he tries to throw those dribble handoffs where he doesn't look, or he flips it off, or he gets an offensive rebound and he has to try to make like a no look bounce pass or something. I mean, just give the ball to the guys. But anyway, we want him to play. Hopefully he'll play Monday. I'm going to that game. I was at the game. I was at the Magic game, gut-wrenching game. Just like the Boston game was a gut-wrenching game. So, yeah, those were both one-possession losses. And we, so this was huge for us to win, even though we, gave up a 22-point lead. But JB, after the game in this press conference, just wrote it off. He said, the main thing is these guys, and this is the life in the NBA. It is really hard. And we played those tough games against Boston on Wednesday. Then we got to play a tough game against Orlando on Friday, and then fly to Miami. And so they get on a plane at midnight, and they fly and they get into their hotel at 4 a.m. and then they come and play a game tonight against a hot team that's didn't play last night and waiting for them. So 3 games in 4 nights and disappointing losses. So that's a hard thing, but I'm still concerned. We played 12 guys against Orlando, and we had a lineup out there that just gave up a lot of points and didn't score many points. Just like tonight, we had the same lineup kind of, and it just didn't work. But we had, against the Magic, we played Levert and Ron and Duncan and Ivy and Stu together, and the Magic go on a 17-6 run. And so that, that was tough. And then tonight, we're cruising, and then we play Duncan, Ron, Danis, Javante Green, and Paul Reed, and they go on. Miami goes on a 12-0 run, and I think he's got to make sure he staggers his lineups a little bit better. And that group, that last group I said, they also committed 14 fouls in 2 minutes, which puts you behind the 8 ball. Then the team's shooting in the they're in the bonus. But yeah, and I'm going to jump around, and I apologize for this. The game tonight came down to the wire, and we had to make some big plays down the end. Cade got doubled, and he gave it up quick. And JB had Danis in the game. Danis has hardly played in the second half in a bunch of games, and he drove in there and made a big shot. Then at the end of the game, he got fouled. He missed a free throw, and then he made one, and then he made 2 free throws at the end. So he made 3 out of 4 at the end when they intentionally fouled him. So yeah, it was a wild game at the end. But I'm going to jump around again to the Orlando Magic game. We got screwed. The refs were so bad. David Guthrie, every call he makes against us is a terrible call. Cade got grabbed. He just got grabbed by the jersey. He's going around a pick, and Suggs just grabs him and pulls him. He just doesn't grab him for a second. He grabs him and pulls him. And then Cade gets a tee, and I don't blame him for being so mad. And then, Bane cried all night. Multiple times, got in the face, didn't quit crying, and he didn't get a technical. And it just makes me mad. There are plays just like tonight against Orlando. The ball goes out of bounds, and it touches Orlando's fingertips, and they review it, and they give the ball to Orlando. That happened twice, and it happened like tonight. Well, I guess it did go off the start tonight, but yeah, it was gut-wrenching, and it was, Bane, he was unbelievable against us for Orlando, and he was 13 for 25, but he's known as, the reason they got him is he's a great three-point shooter. He was 0 for 5. He made these tough drives against us, way from outside the lane. We pushed him out of the lane. They were highly contested drives. He throws them up. He falls down every time, and he gets a bunch of free throws. So he was 11 for 12 from the line, and half the time he didn't get touched. But they still were really tough shots. But he's a punk. Desmond Bane is a punk, and so is Suggs. Suggs is he was 0 for 11, I think, and then at the end of the game, he steals the ball from Cade again. Anthony Black was doing a good job guarding Cade, and then Suggs comes from behind, steals it, comes down, makes like almost a logo 3, and he was 2 for 11 on threes, and he makes those 2 big threes at the fourth quarter from way deep. And you got to give him credit for that. But yeah, it's just, it was a terrible loss, and it was tough to be at. And the refs just had no control of the game, and there were a lot of bad calls. And we got all the technicals were against us, except one. We had at least 3 technicals against us. JB got one right away. But every game we're involved with David Guthrie. It's just like there's a guy that the going to work team was where whenever we had him, we lost. I mean, in the playoffs, we were like 1-7 when he reffed our games. We were like 11 for 13. We won 11 out of 13 games that he didn't ref. I don't know. That's not exact numbers, but it was ridiculous. But so the other thing that happened in the Orlando game is we were down 1-1, and they came down, and Franz shot a really contested 3 from on top. And Franz he's a bad 3-point shooter. He was real bad last year. And I think the shot clock was running down. And then the ball, he's shooting it from straight on, and the ball usually never does it. It kicked out towards the corner. Asar does it box out. Bane gets the rebound, and then they kick it back out. So they run more clock, and then they get another shot, and then Franz has to shoot it, force another 3 from way out there. And a lot of times when you shoot from way beyond the 3-point line and you brick it, the ball shoots way out far, and so they got another offensive rebound. Then Franz shoots a fadeaway, and Franz was crying all night. Franz just was a big baby all night, but he shot a fadeaway from free throw line, but he's falling way back. And again, ball just shoots out. So even if we had inside position, the ball kicked out. But yeah, we fumbled some balls during, like I said, during against Boston and against Orlando. Just was struggling. Teams are like collapsing people on him, but still he's just not been playing with the force. So he didn't play against Miami because he had a contusion. LeVert didn't play, but Duncan Robinson, first game back in Miami after playing there for 7 years, he had 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. So I was happy for him. It's weird though. He was only 3 for 9 on threes. So, he made 4 2-point baskets and he shot a good percentage. So, but again, I was happy for him. He still struggles. He struggles defensively. Orlando, every time they could, just like Boston, they whoever's guard their best player, when their best player has the ball, they have Duncan's man runs up and sets the pick for him. And it just seems like everybody, if Duncan was on, whoever he was on, it seems like they made a basket. It seems like they made the basket. I don't know. I guess they're not afraid of him blocking their shot or anything. But anyway, I'm exhausted. I stayed up late for that game, and I went down. I was downstate, and I went and watched my granddaughter play, and then I drove back home, 4 hours, and then watched the game tonight. So I'm a little bit not with it. So I apologize for that. But yeah, and then tonight, in that game against Orlando, Cade hits a 3 to tie it. We were down by 10, and with 6 minutes left, and in 2 minutes we cut it to 100 to 100, and then Cade drives in and makes a 3-point play the old-fashioned way, and then with 2:40 left, it's 106-105. Cade misses a free throw. Then with 2:20, he misses a layup. Then with 2:01 left, he misses a floater. And then, like I said, that play where then he drives in there at the end of the game and Suggs sneaks in from behind him. Black's guarding him and he steals it and makes a 3. And so he did not have a good finish. He was incredible. It was one of the best games of his career until the last 2.5 minutes. And again, he missed that free throw against Boston that would have tied it. So, and then tonight he got stripped 3 times in the fourth quarter. So I love him. He's amazing, and he's just got to get better at managing the end of games, knowing that teams, they didn't blitz him. Miami didn't until the end of the game, and he did not handle it very well. And usually Duran's the guy that he gets it to when they blitz him, but he wasn't playing tonight. So, yeah, a lot of guys played good. It was great to see Ron Holland play a good game. Asar played pretty good. He played 30 minutes. He was 5 for 9 with 8 rebounds. He did have 4 turnovers, which is way too many for the number of times that he handles the ball. And he was minus 17, but he had 10 points. Up before that, he had only 1 game in the last 5 games where he had scored in double figures. And so he's great. He's not meeting my expectations. Of course, he's always in foul trouble. We had a lot of guys in foul trouble tonight. If they could have got it to overtime, I think we would have had a hard time. But here, like I said, Tobias played 31 minutes. He was 10 for 12. He was 4 for 6 on threes, which is incredible for him. 2 for 4 on free throws. He missed those 2 clutch pressure free throws at the end. 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 turnovers. He was minus 14. So him and Asar were minus 17 and minus 14. So that's not good. But Stu played 29 minutes. He got 5 fouls, but 4 for 7. He made those little jump hooks that he's so tough on, even over guys much bigger. He had 8 rebounds, 1 assist. And Duncan, like I said, he was 7 for 14, played 32 minutes. He's always way up there on the team. I'm sure he's like second on the team in minutes played, which I don't get when he's, against Orlando. He was 1 for 7 and 1 for 5 on threes until the fourth quarter, and he still played mega minutes. He played like 36 minutes or something against Orlando, and I don't. If he's not making shots and he's getting hunted on defense every time, I think he should still play, but he shouldn't play so much. And I know we need spacing, but I don't know when he's not making shots and he's just the target on defense every time for the other team. I just worry about that. Cade played 38 minutes. He played 40 minutes against Orlando. I do think that it's not counts for a complete excuse, but I do think that's a factor in why he doesn't play as well at the end of the game. 14 for 25, that's really good. Only 1 for 5 on threes, though. 0 for 1 on free throws. So how does Cade Cunningham shoot 25 shots and get 1 free throw? That was probably a technically shot. I don't know. I can't remember for sure. But 4 rebounds, 8 assists, but 8 turnovers. So he's had back-to-back 8 turnover games, and he throws just some careless passes tonight, which hurts. But he had 29 points. So 2 games prior to that, he scored 81 points against Boston. But there is a correlation there. He scores 39 and 42 or something, and we lose those games. So he needs to have other people help. Ivy had a bad game against Orlando. He turned it over at least 3 times and missed some shots. But tonight he played 14 minutes. So I guess I don't know if that's his minutes restriction is like 15 minutes, but he played 14 minutes. He was 2 for 5, hit some big shots. We had a big stretch with the bench in the second half. They came on and Ivy really helped spark him, and he hit it. He was 1 for 2 on threes, 4 for 4 on free throws. So he was plus 16 in his little 14 minutes, but he had 9 points. Holland played really great. First really good game he's had in a long time. He was feeling it. I was happy for him. 23 minutes, that's more than he usually plays. 4 for 6, 2 for 2 on free throws, 3 assists, 3 steals, 10 points. He was all over the place making steals and stuff. So B-Ball Paul, though, he was my player of the game to go score 13 points in 19 minutes and get 10 rebounds in 19 minutes and score 13 points on only 9 shots is great. Dennis, again, I don't know how JB had he been at the end. I know part of it was for defense, but he's not been playing. So again, we just got to figure some things out. I really feel strongly. I should have said this at the beginning. This should have been the topic of my thing. We need to play 9 players, in my opinion, and then the 10th player plays like 7 or 8 minutes, and the other guys get to play more significant minutes. But of course, that's when everybody's healthy. Javonte Green played 8 minutes, and he was 2 for 2 and 1 for 1 on threes, and he only played 8 minutes. But you just can't play everybody. Somebody's got to sit. Somebody that deserves to play has to sit. You can't play that many people, especially like we did against Orlando, and play one guy 9 minutes, one guy 7 minutes, and somebody 13 minutes, and then I don't know. I just think it's got to get straightened out. But tonight we were 59%, which was incredible. 42% on threes. So how was this game even close? But one of the reasons was we were 17 for 23 on free throws. We don't shoot free throws particularly well, but they were 33 for 39. They had shot 10 free throws before we ever even shot one tonight. So not looking good there. But we had 21 turnovers, so too many. But out of your 21 turnovers, Cade should have the most turnovers. Cade should average 3.5 turnovers with his usage rate. But when he has 8, that is not good. And like I said, some of them are just careless, like tonight. And some of them he just gets doubled and he doesn't see the double coming. I don't know if guys on the court are yelling when their man leaves to double. When my teams did it, we had a code word where we let them know that somebody was coming. But yeah, they shot 50%. They were 48% on threes, though they shot. So they were 14 for 29. So that was tough. But the biggest thing was they scored the 44 points in the fourth quarter because we had the game in hand. So since we're eliminated from the Cup, they added 2 games. So we're going to play the Hawks at home December 12th at 7 o'clock, and then we're going to play the Celtics at home at Boston at 7 o'clock on December 15th. So added games the 12th and the 15th. Well, the other teams are doing their bracket play. Miami has to play Orlando. So that'll be an interesting game for the Cup tournament. So anyway, I apologize for my randomness, how I talk, but I appreciate you listening, and I hope that you are relieved like I am after the Lions loss and then 2 Piston losses, man, I was spiraling. So let's go get the Hawks on Monday. Like I said, I won't be able to do podcasts after that game because I'll be at the game. But thank you for listening. Be the reason that somebody feels happy. Go Pistons.